Hello, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I got specifically for you guys, I got another spooky movie review. And today specifically, I got the movie Get Out. It is a pretty solid movie, but I guess I'll go into more of my thoughts and opinions in a second. But before I fully go into the review, I just want to say I don't typically want to rewatch a lot of movies I've seen more recently. I want to rewatch movies that either one I've not seen in forever, or I want to specifically watch movies that I've never seen, which I actually have a really great idea for the movie I'm going to do tomorrow. But overall, though, I wanted something with a little bit more story compared to Terrifier and Terrifier 2. Not that there wasn't anything wrong with their story, whatever. I wanted something that was a little bit more overall meaty and that had a little bit more overarching story. So that led me to picking Get Out. So let's talk about the movie specifically. IMDb rated this as a 7.8. I think this movie is a solid 9.5. It is almost a perfect movie. It is so good. I really enjoy it. It is a movie I've not seen in probably 3 or 4 years and has aged so well and is so great. I really enjoyed it, and I kind of wish I rewatched this movie sooner, but I'm kind of glad at the same time I did not for this series specifically. But because of how gruesome Terrifier was, I kind of didn't know if I wanted to go with a super gory movie. And so, logically, I saw Get Out, and I was like, that's my choice for sure then. On a rewatch, though, I'm not going to lie. It was really creepy and uneasy at times. But it is genuinely one of the few horror movies I consider to be almost perfect to perfect. Like, literally in me writing the script for this movie review specifically, I could not decide whether or not I wanted to do a 9.5 or do a 10 out of 10. That's how good this movie is. I love the character dynamics in this movie and all these different things. But before we go into specifically talking more about the movie, let's give a little bit of backstory and a little bit of context behind this movie. This was Jordan Peele's first movie he produced, first horror movie specifically, I should say. I don't know if he has directed any other movies, but specifically Get Out was his first horror movie that he produced. I know that he produced, or I think he produced some episodes of the Key and Peele sketch show. But I think that at sometimes this movie was uneasy as it covered the sexualization of African Americans within the entertainment and sport industries, because it's unfortunate you do see that a lot. They get sexualized. They get people overdo things, and they once again, like I said just a second ago, sexualize, because I can't really think of a better word, unfortunately. But I like the fact that this movie was willing to talk about a bunch of different things that are kind of controversial topics within society, specifically towards the Black community. I think the main actor in this movie specifically did such a great job. I'm so bad with remembering his name. So I want to say it's Daniel something, and it starts with a K. I'm not trying to mispronounce his name, so I will not attempt to say his name in case I get it wrong. But he did a really great job. So far, I will say, with with that actor specifically, I've really started to enjoy his movies that he's done with Jordan Peele, and I would not be surprised if we continue seeing those two work together, because it is a good duo. I love the foreshadowing that you see all throughout this movie building up towards the end, where even the littlest details, for instance, when when the main character Chris was scratching at the table and stuff, it was hinting to later on when he eventually did that to the chair arms to stuff his ears with cotton, so that way he could not specifically fall into that hypnosis. And I don't know if this is true or not, but I kind of took that as also a symbolism of potential, it could be potential symbolism of slavery with the cotton picking specifically. So there's like a lot of mini callbacks that you could make towards different things that the African Americans within Americans' history have dealt with, and also just history throughout the world in general. I love the fact that it covers these things and it doesn't feel like it's forcing it to be like an edgy movie. Like, I think the main character, and specifically the his best friend in the movie, I cannot remember his name. I have it written down. Rod Williams, the best friend of Chris, the main protagonist. They have a funny dynamic that's kind of nice and kind of a good switch up compared to that story. And it's kind of nice to have that kind of funny back and forth banter between those two people, even when you see right after the ending where he's like, I told you not to go there. So it's still like, even after the life or death situation, they're still cracking jokes. They're still being funny with one another and whatnot. But overall, that was really great in my opinion. There were a lot of specific scenes that made me feel uneasy. A few scenes that made me feel uneasy is when he went around at the party, and specifically they were sizing him up, comparing him, and like talking to him about being African American, all these different things, and being really weird about it. And it's something you might not fully think about until you get later on in the movie where, like, oh my gosh, they're at an auction. And so they're also hinting back to slavery in that way as well, because of specifically them buying property of this gentleman in this movie. And so it's like really interesting to see these different social these social controversies and stuff be brought up within a movie, and it still not be this feeling of pushing the message too much to where you kind of lose feeling or attention of the actual story that's going on. And that's not what happened during this movie. It was overall, though, pretty interesting to see how a bunch of different characters interacted with each other, and once again how those characters interacted with each other was foreshadowing to eventually later on in the movie to some of their deaths. But specifically, let's talk about the girlfriend of the movie, who I think did a really good job. I'm once again cannot remember her name. I forgot to write that down specifically in my notes for this movie specifically, but I love the fact that it goes from her being an ally to being the whole reason why he gets led to his doom, pretty much, and why these other African Americans are being led to their doom. And it also, like, there's moments in that movie where you have the main character where they're triumphing, where they dealt with all the struggle and they're finally breaking through, and they're finally not being in control of the mom and all these different things. And I love the fact that all different, every single death felt unique, and every single kill felt unique as well, if that makes sense to say it that way specifically. But I think the moments that I enjoy specifically are towards the end, when he has to fight pretty much everybody in that family and wins. Because there's a lot of symbolicness with it, and just confirming the predictions earlier in it. Specifically, let's go into talking about the kills. You had the dad who was killed by the antlers of a deer after he was rammed and spiked by it. And that was a callback to earlier in the movie where he said he did not like deer. Then you have the brother who tried to fight the protagonist, ended up getting knocked out. And then later on, after he gets out of being choked by stabbing him in the leg with the pair of scissors, he proceeds to excuse me. He proceeds to beat him up and finish him off, and I just love that detail is there as well because of him trying to fight him earlier in the movie, specifically at, I think it was dinner the night before, or was it lunch or something like that. But there are a lot of like creepy interactions between characters, specifically with the main character to all the different members of the family and the people who were friends with them who were at that party specifically. And towards the end of the movie, I think it is built perfectly because you have Chris, the protagonist, calling 911, and then you have him killing pretty much everybody in the house and crashing his car after the grandma tried to kill him. And then the daughter ended up, he put his hands around her throat and was choking her out, and then she smiled because that's what he wanted. That's what she wanted her to do, or she wanted him to do. My apologies. And then right when he lets go, covered in blood, everybody's blood from being attacked and fending these people off, he's covered in the blood. After choking her, you see red and blue lights, and you're like, oh my gosh, he's going to jail. Turns out it's his friend who works in TSA who delivered an amazing line in this movie when asked how did he get here and find him. He said, because TSA gets shit done. Yes, lovely. It was awesome. It was great. But my favorite death of the movie, just unfortunately you didn't see it on screen, it was kind of off screen, but I still really enjoyed it, was the mom, where you have that symbolic moment where he gets stabbed in the hand because he goes to block her from stabbing him with a pair of scissors after destroying her teacup, which is used to hypnotize him. And then him taking control of it and killing her with it, and ended up having control of that situation when previously she was in control of him, and he comes out victor because of that. There were a lot of symbolic moments like that, and also there were hints to a deeper meaning within slavery and with things that were going on in the African American community and police brutality. Specifically towards the end of the movie, where you think he is indeed getting arrested or bad things are about to happen, and it turns out his friend just saves him. But overall, 100%, if you have never seen this movie, you should. It is so great. I really recommend it. Definitely a movie I will probably watch at least once a year now going forward. It is probably my favorite movie so far that I have seen of this review, but I won't give it full amount of credit because I have seen it previously, so I already did have a base level of understanding and enjoyment from that movie. Still, I would say the number one movie that I've watched so far for the first time is still Nope. But still, another great job by Jordan Peele. It's impressive that he went from doing comedy to doing horror and doing really great with it. But anyway, that's it for today's video. I got a couple of different ideas for movies I'm going to watch next. But if there are any movies you want me to watch or watch and review, let me know down in the comments below. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And you guys have a great rest of your day.